All right, y'all, I'm back. It's me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington. I'm here with my review for episode 4 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney+. Now, if you have not seen this episode yet, you already know the drill. You might want to come back because it's going to be spoilers. Shit got real. Shit got real. That's all we can say, first and foremost, out the gate. But allow me to say, again, thank you to everyone who's been rocking with me through these reviews and rocking with me on the channel with everything. And it's very, very much appreciated. You know what? I'm starting to debate. Should I record this at like 2 in the morning, and then like just put it out? Because I'm like one of the many people that just decide to watch it at midnight as soon as it drops, and then come here and record, and then edit and put it out for y'all, and wait for the conversation and the discourse we have in the comments. And I appreciate it for real. I seriously do, from the bottom of my heart. The story just gets deeper and deeper, and we see so many levels. We see, Carly being told, like, yo, so what are you doing? And, get ready to mourn Danya and everything. And then, I'm not going to go bit by bit. Then we have the moments later where Sam approaches her, where Sam is, like, trying to talk to her. Because, again, Sam dealt with, soldiers who were struggling and whatnot, and technically now she's a soldier in this fight as a flag smasher, and that's aside the super soldier serum within her, but she's a soldier in this fight as a flag smasher to do what's right, what she believes is right for millions and billions of people who were displaced after the snapping. Some people were like, snapping sounds as dumb as the blip, but yeah, let's just sit back and think about it, ladies and gentlemen. But to have Carly have that, and then to see the progression of John Walker, where many of us kind of figured that's where this was going to go. Many of us were like, yeah, he's going to snap at some point, because we slowly started seeing the signs of it. He'd have these moments before, when he realized when when Sam and Bucky, not Cap yet, when Sam and Bucky don't want to work with him, when he goes to the refugee location where Carly was being held up for a moment and the dude don't want to talk to him, and he's like, yo, do you know who I am? You have all these moments, and it's just, you see shit coming. At the beginning of the episode, where you have Bucky telling Sam and Zemo, so the Wakandans are here, like, they want this motherfucker here. So like, I got a little bit of time, but they want him. So we need to figure this out. And, to see the backstory of the training that Io did with Bucky, like how she was teaching him, to make sure everything was done, and Bucky being nervous, and she was like, I'm going to say the code words basically to activate the Winter Soldier, and it didn't activate him. It kind of makes me wonder, did Bucky and Io have something else? Just briefly. I mean, again, it's a possibility, it's not, but the connection that they had is strong. And again, he even says, I'm grateful for everything you all and Shuri did for me. Yeah, they wiped the Winter Soldier programming out his brain and gave him a new arm, which we'll talk about in a second. But the closeness the two of them had, the closeness that Io and Bucky have, even after, everything that went on, and discovering, yes, he didn't kill King T'Chaka, but it just seems like there is something there, some level spark or whatnot. But speaking of the arm, so at one point, the Dora Milaje pop up in their hotel with Zemo, Bucky, and Sam. And Sam is there, and they all looking. And here comes John Walker and Battlestar, Lamar Hoskins. And John was like, hey, I'm John Walker, Captain America. They don't want to shake his hand. And he looked like he about ready to fight, because Walker's trying to come in and take Zemo into custody. He feel like he's going to take him into custody regardless. And Sam and Bucky keep being like, yo, we need this motherfucker. Like, yo, we need dude. Because I got to talk about the bullshit he did with this Turkish Delight candy, which is disgusting, by the way. Walker trying to get there, and then Walker like he want to go toe-to-toe with the Dora. And Sam say the realest shit ever. Yo, you might want to go one-on-one with Bucky before you try to go head up with the Dora Milaje. And again, you got Walker, Captain America, privilege oozing through his veins, thinking, these are just two chicks with spears. I am Captain America. What's the worst that could happen? And put his hand on Io's shoulder, and they proceeded to whiz ass up his ass. They beat the Georgian piss out this nigga. They beat his ass. Look, there's a meme that Winston A. Marshall, my co-host, my brother, my friend on Blurs in the Hood and everything and more, showed me. And this dude who says, "Why watch anime alone?" It's a black dude in front of the TV like, "Beat his ass! Beat his ass! Hit him with that shit!" And that was me at 12:30 in the morning, loud as fuck, like, beat his ass, because he caught that work. And he deserved it. And that was part of things that set stuff in motion, because again, you see him and Lamar later eating in a like a mall or a food court, and he's like, "Yo, they weren't even super soldiers, and they whooped my ass." And his whole thing is, can you imagine what I could do if I had the serum? Because that's been the biggest thing about John Walker. He's not a super soldier. He's just a soldier who has top marks, who is now Captain America. We get to the point where Carly gets, Carly tries to, she threatens Sam's nephews. Sam tries to set up another talk with Carly, like, "Yo, I came along, blah, blah, blah." Here comes Zemo, all this shit. Basically chase her down with the super soldier serum. Zemo steps on all of it until there's one that ain't stepped on that Walker takes. Here's the thing. I want to go back to Zemo real quick. So Zemo's last week, we all loved it. Everybody loved little Bear and Zemo dancing, right? And thanks to that, Marvel gave us the Zemo cut, which I was like, I love it, and I hate y'all for doing this. Y'all know how I feel about that, the pressure. But again, they gave an hour of it, it's whatever. But he does that, and everybody's on Daniel Bruhl, everybody's on Bear and Zemo, like, yeah, get it, Zemo. And then this Mog starts singing "Bye Bye Black Sheep" to kids. But you realize why he's doing it is to gain their trust. And then he offers them Turkish Delight, which is disgusting fucking candy. So disgusting. But then he even says, "This is candy that my son likes." So we found out, did he have a son? But also it makes you wonder, is he lying about having had a kid? Because this is Baron Zemo. But again, I think he might have had a kid who died in Sokovia along with everything else. But he finds out the information about the funeral that they were looking for. And so, he uses the little kid as his informant. And that happens a little later, et cetera, et cetera. And I just wanted to go back to that. But after John Walker gets his ass beat by the door, after the whole talk of, "I wish I was a super soldier," basically, him grabbing the last little vial of the serum. One point, that whole fight comes down where after Carly threatens Sam's nephews, Bucky interjects another Flash Master, comes up. All of a sudden, the fight's happening. John come in here strong as shit. And Sam like, "The fuck did you do?" Like, he knows that this isn't the best thing. Because we don't know the potential conversation that Steve Rogers might have had with Sam about what Erskine told him back in the first Avenger. How Erskine never wanted a soldier, a full-on soldier, to have the super soldier serum, because he felt it would corrupt them. That absolute power corrupts absolutely. He needed someone, he said, it amplifies who you are on the inside. Again, it's how the Red Skull is who he became. But also, Steve Rogers is just a good man. Now, notwithstanding, I ain't saying John Walker not a good dude, but because he's so stuck on this, "I've got to prove I belong. I got to prove I'm Captain America. I got to prove I'm just as good as Steve." That's something that's consistently in his mind, and he consistently brings it up. Now it's like, I can be just on the same level as Steve, except, motherfucker, you a psychopath. Fucking the Flag Smashers kidnap Battlestar. He gets out. So they about to set him on fire. He gets out. He joins the fight. And Carly turned around and hit this Mog with the one-hitter quitter. That motherfucker just gets hit in his chest, flies back against the wall, and dies. This is one of the for me, if I can recall, I might be wrong, please remind me. This is one of those first few instances where you realize they play the realism game within the Marvel Studios, within the MCU, excuse me. What I mean by that is we see all the time people without super strength or super healing get hit by people, and you're like, how the hell did they survive? But you watch Battlestar get hit, knocked into a pillar, and die. Like, dead, like not unconscious, like his soul went, see you at the crossroads, see you at the crossroads, so you won't be lonely. Like that motherfucker, I'm gonna miss everybody. Dead. Like dead. And that was the final trigger to snap off John Walker, because he catches one of the flag smashers outside. Dude is defenseless. Dude on the ground like this. This nigga snaps and takes a vibranium shield and just boom, and crushes this mod, either decapitates him, his heads off. But the world is watching. Everybody has their phones out. Everybody's doing this recording. Captain America got caught in 4K. That effect got called 8K. Like, they caught you with 8K, nigga. This is you murdering. Basically, he's going to say he was a cop and had a bad day, or he felt antagonized and threatened by all the people taking video, because that's what cops say nowadays. But it's not America, so it might not work. But the ending shot we get after the murder, the shot of John Walker standing there with the Captain America shield, with blood and remnants of this man's skull potentially at the bottom of it, is the most bone-chilling sight, one of the most bone-chilling sights I think we've gotten in the MCU history. And this, I said this on Twitter and Facebook, and I said it to a couple friends already, and I'll say it again. This sight, that sight in itself, lets you know the MCU not playing anymore going forward. We know because of it's being run by Disney, there's certain things they won't do. There are certain levels they won't go to, and because of the Disney thing, because again, it's Marvel Studios, it's comic books, it's kids. But also, we remember that those of us who grew up with a lot of these characters know every comic book character ain't a kid's character. Hell, Deadpool is an example of that. Moon Knight, and we're getting a series. And so, we're starting to see, to let us know as an audience, we're gonna go here. So, be prepared. That's just a small taste of where they're going to go going forward. You get what I'm saying? This episode has shown who the true... Like, the question becomes, who's the real villain of the show? And I think I said this probably in episode 1 or 2. Like, are the Flag Smashers the real villain? Is Baron Zemo the real villain? Or is in all actuality John Walker now the villain? Because Walker has to be the villain after murdering a nigga in 8K with everybody with their phones out. You know, again, we play into the realism of things of, yo, you got caught on camera, you go viral for something wrong, and you're Captain America. You're already in this brand new thing. The government has made this big PR rollout about you, and we're doing this whole Captain America's back, and he has these values and everything that we know Steve Rogers for. But John Walker's not the same, and now John Walker has murdered somebody. And again, the defense, if you will, can be, I snapped, my partner was killed. I get that. I get it. But again, we've never seen Cap. Cap lost Bucky. Cap's lost people, and we've never seen Cap just snap at that level. So that's what people are going to hold him to. Sam starting to realize, I shouldn't have gave up the shield. Like, I shouldn't have gave up the shield. Like, yo, like, damn. But here's one of the parts I didn't get to that I want to make sure I get to. So after the Dora whooped the dog shit out of John Walker, right? And whooped the piss out of Walker. They about to decide they want to take Zemo. And Bucky and Sam like, no. And Bucky starts to intervene. And then Bucky starts to intervene. Io hits this nigga with the Kill Bill 5-point exploding palm technique on his arm. And this shit just and drops. And she's like, James? Like I just told. Bucky's sitting there like, I can't believe it, man. Oh no, I want a sugar cookie. Looking like Dave Chappelle's Dylon on the Chappelle Show. And Sam is like, did you know they could do that? And Bucky basically like, hell no. And puts his arm back on. Which goes back to when Io was, you know, when they were in Wakanda and Io was helping him and they were doing the training to make sure the programmer was removed. When he was like, I'm afraid I'm going to hurt somebody. Io was like, I won't let you. He didn't have the arm on at that time. But, again, there's fail-safes the Wakandas do everywhere. And this motherfucker, and just, I'm like, oh, shit. There's so much about this series. Again, each one has its own theme. I've been seeing people on social media go, man, Falcon and Winter Soldier is 30,000 times better than WandaVision. I don't think, and I know we do this in general, just with film and everything. I don't think these were being put out to say, well, you gonna compare this one to that one, because Loki finna come out, and I did a trailer reaction to Loki, which you can check here on the channel, and I'm like, I'm intrigued. I don't know if Loki's gonna be the big thing I rock with or heavy or whatnot. There's gonna be a thing I'm like, yo, but it's different. Each one has their own theme. Each one is different. Miss Marvel, a coming of age story, a young girl who gets her abilities. We'll finally probably hear the term Inhuman. So we'll have that. She-Hulk, a lawyer who, in the comics and in newer iterations, she's about what's right. It's the funny thing is, it's kind of Ally McBeal-ish, but she's also a hypersexual being. Something in the comics. Will they go there? We don't know. Everything's different. Moon Knight, a dude who is fucking crazy, doing things for a moon god, Khonshu, I believe his name is, but everything is different. And I say all that to say is, Marvel Studios is giving you something unique in each one. Now, yes, we are all going to pick and choose our favorites. That's just what it is. That's just a fact of life. But we shouldn't try to compare them and be like, man, they did this one so much better than that one. Let it be. Again, this is my personal opinion on it. Let it be. Everyone's going to be different. And everyone's going to be... There are people who are dying to see Loki because they're in love with Tom Hiddleston as Loki. And then you get Owen Wilson, Google about the Raw. You have this whole thing, the Time Variant Association. You talk about how him stealing the Tesseract in Endgame plays out. You got all these different things. And again, the like, I'm so grateful for it. But again, we were getting all this stuff anyway. We were getting all this content from Marvel Studios regardless. And then the Panasonic happened. And so you thought, like, man, it pushed back films, it pushed back Black Widow, Shang-Chi, the Eternals, everything else. And you're like, how much more damage is this parallelogram going to do to the world as far as we know for the content and the stuff that we want to see? And then we start getting stuff. And then all of a sudden, Disney Plus and Marvel Studios is like, you know what? The hell with this panorama. We finna put out WandaVision, and then we're going to give you Falcon and Winter Soldier. So... all these beautiful things, man. But I want to know y'all thoughts in the comments below, all right? So let me know, and let's keep this conversation simple as always. Like, subscribe, click on the notification bell. Down below, comment, all right? Subscribe to the channel, please. We're getting these numbers up, and I appreciate you joining the family. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington, MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. You really should. Check out the Mad Titan podcast, everywhere you get your podcast from. I get you caught up in all the things happening in the Marvel and DC live-action cinematic universes. It is Barbershop Talk for Nerds. Come on in the convo. Episode 83 should be dropping by the time you see this. And Blurs in the Hood, every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. on the East Coast. Myself and Winston A. Marshall. We get you caught. We talk about the world of pop culture, entertainment, news, sports, politics, and a whole lot more from a Blur's perspective, and we are unapologetically black, all right? Thank y'all for rocking with your boy. Let's have this great conversation continue to go in these comments below. And I'll catch y'all next week for episode 5. Take care. I'm out. Bye.